I will now convene regular session. Welcome. Alondra Moran will serve as the Spanish interpreter for this meeting. Meeting attendees who would like to listen to the Spanish interpretation of the meeting, please pick up headphones from the table located in the back of this meeting room. This announcement will now be shared in Spanish. This meeting is being webcast live and recorded. The recording or webcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. Members of the public wanting to provide public comment on items listed on tonight's agenda, we recommend you fill out the public comment form, the green form, located on the table in the back of this room. Please hand the completed form to Delia Smart, board manager, before the item comes up on the agenda. We recommend you complete a separate form for each agenda item you'd like to comment on. Ms. Smart is sitting at the table in the back of this meeting room. There she is. She's standing, waving. Members of the public providing public comment, please use the microphone on the stand located in the front of the room. Board member Randy Villegas will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll now report on action taken in closed session. In closed session, on a motion by Board Member Odo and a second by Board Member Gamoyan, the board agreed unanimously by a vote of 6 ayes to 0 nays with 1 absent to appoint Lisa Majarian to the position of principal of Four Creeks Elementary School. Lisa Majarian has been employed with Visalia Unified School District for a total of 34 years. She started her career with the USD as an elementary school teacher, serving at Cottonwood Creek Elementary, Mineral King Elementary, and Viva Blunt Elementary. She was then promoted to an assistant principal position where she served for 2 years. For the last 7 years, Mrs. Majarian has served as the principal of Royal Oaks Elementary. Mrs. Majarian earned a Bachelor of Science in Agricultural Education and a master's degree in Educational Leadership from California State University, Fresno. Mrs. Majarian holds a multiple subjects teaching credential and an administrative services credential. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, congratulations to Mrs. Majarian. Is she here? Okay. In closed session, on a motion by Board Member Villegas and a second by Board Member Belt, the board agreed unanimously by a vote of 6 yeses and 0 nays with 1 absent to appoint Andy Gomez to the position of principal of Royal Oaks Elementary School. And as to the position of interim principal of Royal Oaks Elementary. Andy Gomez has served as an elementary school principal for Visalia Unified for the last 7 years. He started his career in education as a teacher in Early Mart School District, where he taught for 7 years prior to serving as an assistant principal for a year and a principal for 6 years. Before coming to VUSD, Mr. Gomez was the principal of Reagan Elementary for 4 years in Lindsay Unified. Mr. Gomez earned a Bachelor of Arts in Criminal Justice from East Central University, Oklahoma, and a Master of Arts in Education with an emphasis in Educational Leadership from Chapman University. Mr. Gomez holds a multiple subject teaching credential and an administrative services credential. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, congratulations to Mr. Gomez. Is he? Oh, there he was. Okay. The board took the following action in closed session. On a motion by Board Member Villegas and a second by Board Member Case-Beer-Soleno, the board voted 6 yeses, 0 nays, and 1 absent to approve the settlement agreement between the district and the parties representing OAH case number 20211-20375. And lastly, in closed session, on a motion by Board Member Gamoyan and second by Board Member Gaby, the board agreed by a vote of 6 yeses, 0 nays, and 1 absent to approve a settlement agreement with employee number 22622. And that is all those. Revisions to enclosure items. There are revised item enclosures number 5.1, 5.2, 7.9, 7.10, and 7.11. May I have a motion to adopt the board meeting agenda?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Okay. On a motion by Case Beer Soleno and a second by Villegas, call for a vote.
Motion passes. Student board member voting yes. Motion passes 6 with 1 absent.
And now I'd like to have Mr. Assistant Superintendent of Leadership and Learning, Mark Thompson, introduce our student performance.
Good evening, board. Actually, before I have them, I'm going to have them come on in. We are going to reorient a little bit. So board, if you want to go to that side or come right back here, please do so at this time. And while you guys are doing that, I know many parents here tonight are here for awards, but just something we do will be at the beginning of every board meeting is we do have a short performance. So you guys are going to be entertained right now for just a couple of minutes. So Mr. Luna, will you go ahead and bring in? So tonight, as they get prepared right now, you guys, we get a treat tonight from Mount. Get out. Is our jazz band led by Mrs. Betancourt. And the music selection that they're going to do tonight is The Bare Necessities. Many of us might be aware of that song, but as they set up, let's give them a big hand for being here tonight and entertaining us. Well done. Well done to the Mount Whitney Jazz Band. Give us just a moment as we shape up, but let's give them a big hand. Just give us just a moment as we reorganize front dais here.
All right. Well, thank you to the Mount Whitney Jazz Band. That's all usually the best part of our meeting. But tonight we also have Student Achievement Awards. So now we have two fabulous parts. I'll have Mr. Assistant Superintendent of Leadership and Learning, Mr. Mark Thompson.
Good evening, Board President Gabe, board members, Superintendent Schrum. This is another exciting part of our evening, right? So we get these a couple times a year, but at this evening, to start off. No, just keep. Let's see if we could try this one. Okay, that sounds a little better. So I'm gonna have Mr. Perez. You want to come on up on this side or come on through? But what we're gonna start off with tonight is tonight we're recognizing student athlete individuals and teams that have done extraordinarily or outstanding things above and beyond the local level, but above that and looking at above our valley level. So I'm gonna hand over to Mr. Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Good evening. First up tonight is Golden West girls tennis team. The Trailblazers earned the 2023 CIF Central Section Fall Academic Team Awards for girls tennis with an unweighted team GPA of 3.89. The 3.89 placed them in the top 10 out of all fall sports in the Central Section. The Trailblazers also had a terrific season on the court, earning the CIF Central Section Division 5 #1 seed and defeating McFarland in the opening round before falling to Shafter in the quarterfinals. And team members include tonight, Cristo Aguilar, Dion Allison, Jocelyn Alvarado, Emily Espinosa, Quinn Mendoza, Olivia Sapien, Natalie Wothy, Sydney Wothy, and their head coach is Noah Satterley, and the athletic director from Golden West High School is John DeLong. Again, please join me in congratulating the Golden West girls tennis team. Next up, we have El De Monte cross country runners, Devin Ibarra and Brooklyn Bahawanan. Devin had an amazing senior season. He was the CIF Central Section Division II champion, easily qualifying for the CIF State Cross Country Championships, where he finished third out of over 200 runners. He was the EYL League champion. And listen to this, Devin placed first at the Dennis DeWitt Invitational, the Sanger Cross Country Invitational, the Orange Cove Invitational, the 50th Annual Doug P. Rudolph Invitational, the Sosora Viejo Invitational, the Sierra Pacific Golden Bear Invitational, the Rough Rider Invitational, and the 75th Annual Mount Sac Division II Invitational. Wow. Brooklyn was the EYL League champion, finished fourth at the CIF Central Section Division III Cross Country Championships, qualifying her for the CIF state championships. She led the minors to a fourth place team finish at the CIF Central Section Cross Country Championships, and she placed first at the Orange Cove and the Sanger Invitationals. El Diamante's cross country head coaches are Mark Hales and Pete Murrieta, and athletic director for El Diamante is Kimberly Wadamura. Please join me in congratulating Devin and Brooklyn. Next up is Redwood girls volleyball team. The Rangers had an excellent 2023 fall season. They finished 36-7 overall with a perfect 10-0 record in the EYL, finishing as EYL league champions, never losing a set in league. Their hard work this year earned them the place in the CIF Central Section Division I championships against the top teams in the section. The Rangers lost in the section playoffs to number 2 seed San Luis Obispo, but were rewarded with the number 2 seed in the SoCal Regional Division III state championships, where they went on to defeat Culver City, Venice, Temple City, and Del Norte. The Rangers' amazing run earned them the opportunity to represent Visalia in the 2023 CIF State Girls Volleyball Division III Championships versus Ripon Christian, becoming only the second VUSD team to play in the state championships. Team members include Grace Alapaz, Abigail Camarillo, Devin Castaneda, Kennedy Cutler, Ava Ferguson, Hazel Green, Ashlyn Gunter, Audrey Hyde, Andy May, Taylor McElry, Angelina Miranda, Alexis Rico, Peyton Short, and their head coach is Alana Montgomery and athletic director Michael Wright. Please join me in congratulating the Redwood volleyball team. Next is Mount Whitney girls cross country runner Ariana Diaz. Ariana finished 6th at the CIF Central Section Division III Cross Country Championships, qualifying her for the CIF State Championships. She led the Lady Pioneers to a top 5 team finish at the CIF Central Section Division III Cross Country Championships and finished 2nd at the EYL League Championships. Leading to even more excitement for the future is that Ariana accomplished all this as a freshman this season. Mount Whitney cross country head coach are Isaac Gonzalez and Katie Fry, and Mount Whitney athletic director Luke Vidak. Please join me in congratulating Ariana.
Let's give one more big hand for all of our athletes tonight. Those are all that we have for this evening. Mr. Reyes, if you want to start coming in here, that'd be great. Come next to me here. Next thing, typically in this time, we also do our VAPA or Visual and Performing Arts also awards. We're in the middle of everything right now. And so actually our Visual and Performing Art Awards will be coming out later this year. So we will be doing those. So they're not forgotten. We're just postponing those a little bit later. Next, we want to now recognize outstanding high school students in the areas of agriculture, English, world language, citizen growth, along with educational options, overall academic achievement. The board will also recognize the United Students Association of Visalia, USAV, Fall Students of the Season. USAV consists of Visalia Unified School District secondary students dedicated to improving the educational programs and representing student views to the Board of Education. These students represent the best of the best from our schools in the areas from which they have been selected, and we are very proud of them for their accomplishments and for how they represent their school and our district. Each of them is certainly worthy of this special recognition tonight. But before we begin, I would like to first recognize and thank the parents and the families for these outstanding students. Your support and encouragement is valuable and valued and appreciated. I would also like to recognize and thank their teachers and school staff who have supported their learning and their successes. All of us share in this pride this evening of these students' accomplishments. We are very happy to be able to take time tonight to honor these students and hear about their accomplishments. Students, you will receive a medal as part of your recognition, which you are invited to wear at your commencement ceremony. At this time, I would like to bring up Adolfo Reyes, principal of Sequoia High School, and he will get us started.
Students, right up here, please. Our first recipient for tonight, Gabriela Figueroa. Gabriela is an amazing teen parent and strong mother. She made it her mission to catch up on her credits, graduate early, and be enrolled at COS by January 2024 in the American Sign Language program. Gabriela states, Sequoia is such a great school that the teachers do help you become better. Gabriela, as of today, was her first day of class. She is a courageous young person. Gabriela wants to tell all the students, hey, it's worth it in the end. Folks, I gave you an amazing student, Gabriela Figueroa. Mr. Frank Rawls was a product of the COVID slump and struggled with school. But because he had a sister who excelled at Sequoia, Frank wasted no time and committed himself to do the same. Frank became a strong ASB student leader, got involved in school activities, and supported his teachers. Because of his determination and hard work, Frank met his graduation requirement and graduated in December. He is now enrolled at COS and will be starting soon. Sequoia is also proud of Frank Rawls for an outstanding award recipient. Other two recipients in our year are Minerva Torres Mendoza and Preston Seychow. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's give him one more hand. Now that I'd like to welcome up from the Visalia Adult School, Ms. Tammy Olson.
This evening, I'd like to honor Khalud. Khalud came to us from Yemen and started her ESL journey. In 2020, she then decided she wanted to get her high school diploma with no credits towards a diploma. During the pandemic, Khalud was not able to study like she wanted as she was responsible for the things in her home. However, this last year, she completed 72 of her 150 credits and has earned another 40 credits through work experience. She studies online up to 60 hours a week after caring for her toddler and giving birth to her second child in April. She is definitely an inspiration to all. I'm very proud to present to you Khalud Alfari. Our other recipient, Fernando Lopez, is currently studying English as a second language and works in Selma 4 p.m. to 2:30 a.m., yet still comes on time for his 8:30 a.m. class. He was nominated by teacher Sarah, and she shared that Fernando consistently goes above and beyond and is an excellent communicator. Finally, what exemplifies his hard work are his benchmarks. Fernando had a literacy gain of 17 points on his benchmarks in his reading scores from the end of September to the beginning of November. He's a natural leader with a strong work ethic that he says he learned from his mom. I am very proud to present to you Fernando Lopez.
And then one more big hand of applause, well deserved. Our next school is we have Visalia Independent Study with Miss Carly Hawkins.
Good evening. First tonight, I'd like to introduce Miss Danica Brown. She was selected by VCIS for overall achievement. Danica showed her desire to achieve from the start. Danica is committed to excellence in her coursework, earning straight A's every semester. Her essays are used as our site exemplars. In addition, she continues to challenge herself with new things, trying her hand at painting and also digital photography. With her incredible work ethic, Danica will be successful at anything she puts her mind to. Danica hopes to attend Fresno Pacific next fall and major in business administration. This award is well deserved. Congratulations, Danica. Also tonight, for overall achievement, VCIS would like to recognize Brianna Rivera Basurto. Brianna has been a VCIS Eagle since her freshman year. During these 4 years, every single grade has been either an A or an A+. She has challenged herself with upper level classes, including coursework at COS. Brianna is an extremely conscientious student who truly enjoys the process of learning. She thinks deeply about each topic, leading to great discussions. She is respectful, kind, and humble. Such a joy to have her at our school. Brianna actually graduated a full semester early. She is a graduate and is now on to COS, pursuing a certificate of interpreting. Congratulations to Brianna. Next, VCIS would like to recognize for Fall Student of the Season for USAV, Miss Megan Donley. Megan has been at VCIS since 10th grade. From the get-go, Megan is actively involved in any activity that VCIS offers. She has participated in our book clubs and the CNA program and represents VCIS as the Student School Board representative and our ASB president. Megan is pursuing her civic engagement certificate and is taking advantage of classes at COS. She is outgoing, and it is rare to find her without a bright smile on her face. Congratulations on this award. We look forward to what the future holds for you, Megan Donnelly. And lastly, tonight, we would like to recognize for VCIS USAV Fall student, Garrett Verhoeven. Garrett has been a VCI student all 4 years, a true Eagle. While at VCIS, he has been a model student and friend to his peers. Academically, he takes the most rigorous courses, including concurrent COS classes, and has maintained a 3.83 even with his college courses. He will be attending Dordt University next fall on a full academic scholarship. Garrett is also a talented musician. He is a member of the VCIS rock band and his church worship band, playing the bass guitar and the piano. He has also successfully competed at the California Music Educators Association Festival 9 times. Congratulations to Garrett.
All right, one more clap for this team. Thank you very much. All right, next up we have Visalia Technical Early College High School with Mr. Scott Braun.
Good evening. It is with great pleasure that I introduce to you Desiree Lopez, who has a VTech Overall Achievement Award. We celebrate Desiree's extraordinary accomplishments. Desiree is ranked third in her class, was offered pre-admission and conditional acceptance to UC Merced last spring as a junior. Ms. Ramirez, her ASB teacher, says Desiree is dedicated to fostering student involvement and leadership, is worthy of recognition and commendation. Her active participation in creativity in every project and event are truly remarkable. In conclusion, please join me in congratulating Desiree on her remarkable accomplishments. I am proud to present VTech's Overall Achievement Award to Rylan Crook. Rylan has taken 8 COS courses, earning A's and B's in each of them. Currently, Ryan, well, actually, this was written just before the semester. He took stats course, which he said was quite challenging at COS. Mr. Wyrick states that during challenging tasks in the shop, Rylan takes genuine concern for struggling peers when evident. Instead of simply focusing on their success, Rylan takes the time to guide and encourage his classmates, helping to support a positive atmosphere in the shop. In conclusion, please join me in congratulating Rylan on his accomplishments at VTech, as well as when he goes to COS, his leadership and growth will be an asset to him in the future. I also had Xavier Palomino, who could not be here tonight, and Aiden Downey, who is taking a COS class and couldn't make it also.
All right, let's give them one more big hand. Next up, we have El Diamante High School with Principal Mrs. Kim Nelson.
The outstanding agriculture student at El Diamante High School is Kyler Hunter. Unfortunately, he was unable to be here tonight, but I'll make sure he gets his award. The outstanding student in English is Natalie Ledesma. Natalie has consistently demonstrated her writing and thinking abilities at a superior level in advanced language and literature classes. Natalie is always willing to share her thoughts with the class while also offering help in the form of collaboration with her classmates, as well as showing she values their ideas. She is a dedicated student who always goes above and beyond with her assignments. I am very proud and honored to present Natalie Ledesma with the English Award. Fernanda Romo is the outstanding student in world language. This year, she has demonstrated her abilities in Spanish 4 AP in writing, speaking, and reading comprehension. She is willing to share her thoughts with the class while also offering help in the form of collaboration with her classmates. Fernanda is being recognized for her outstanding achievement, not just in Spanish 4 AP, but also in the Spanish Club. She has been a Spanish Club member since her freshman year and now is the event coordinator. Help me in congratulating Fernanda Romo. The recipient of the Citizenship Award is Miguel Ramos. Miguel has put in work to finish 3 Edgenuity courses in 1 semester. This is not something that many students are able to accomplish. His dedication to his courses and grades is outstanding. Miguel has shown so much perseverance this year. He is honest and polite and takes responsibilities for his actions. Teachers have seen him mature and take pride in his schoolwork. I am proud to present Miguel Ramos with the Citizenship Award. McKenna Steele is the USAV Student of the Season. McKenna is an outstanding student, athlete, and leader at El Diamante. She has earned this honor for the effort she makes every day to make the events at El Diamante unique and memorable. She is a kind and confident leader. McKenna's motivations are not praise or awards. She is a model of servant leadership. And while she will accept credit for her accomplishments, it is evident that she believes that serving others and making a difference is the reward. Please join me in congratulating McKenna Steele. The other USAV Student of the Season is Angelica Martinez. She has earned this honor for her service to the senior class students as their president. Angelica is responsible for organizing the class gift committee as well as service events for her club. She has led the Kindness Week committee and organized a successful event that impacted the school climate and spirit. She is responsible, respectful, and reliable, and understands the influence student leaders have on their peers. Angelica exemplifies the concept of service before self. I am proud to present the USAV Student of the Season Award to Angelica Martinez.
All right, one more big hand for El Diamante High School, their students. Next up, we have Golden West, and we have Principal Mr. Michael Lambert.
Good evening. Our first award winner is from the World Language Department, and that is Valerie Jurado Sanchez. It's a pleasure to nominate Valerie Jaylene Jurado Sanchez for the World Language Student Achievement Award. Valerie embodies Golden West High School's trail values: teamwork, respect, achievement, integrity, and leadership. With an A+ in her challenging 5 AP Spanish literature course, she demonstrates responsibility, academic accountability, and self-discipline. Valerie's commitment extends beyond personal success, and she actively contributes to the greater good. In conclusion, Valerie is an outstanding, dedicated, and hardworking student with a positive attitude, making her the ideal choice for the award. Once again, Valerie Jurado Sanchez. Our second award winner tonight is for citizenship growth, and that's Tamaya Peterson. Tamaya has undergone remarkable transformation, demonstrating substantial behavioral improvement and fostering positive relationships with peers and adults on campus. From making decisions misaligned with Trailblazers 3 years ago, she's evolved into a student embodied all aspects of trail. In her 4th year, Tamaya showcases achievements not only in her academic growth, but also as a first-year ASB member, embodying teamwork, responsibility, integrity, and leadership. Recognized for her growth, she was intentionally recruited by administration and the activities director. Tamaya's journey is a testament to her commendable development, and we celebrate her accomplishments with pride. Congratulations, Tamaya. Our final award winner is the USAV Student of the Season, and that's Michaela Boley. Michaela is a standout student at Golden West, consistently goes the extra mile to enhance our campus environment for all. For 2 years, she has been a valuable member of the mock trial team, contributing to its remarkable success. In academics, Michaela takes on challenging schedule and currently serves as the ASB Vice President, playing a crucial role in leading the Interclub Council. Additionally, as the yearbook editor, she has created 4 years of unforgettable memories for our students. Congratulations to Michaela Boley for her outstanding contributions and achievements. Golden West has 3 other award winners that were unable to make it tonight because of various and sundry academic and school-related activities. And those students are Caitlin Ibarra, Quinn Mendonca, and Maui Luis, and we'll make sure they get their awards tomorrow. Thank you.
Let's give one more big hand for Golden West High School. Amazing students there. Next up, we have Mount Whitney High School and our proud principal, Mr. Bob Aguilar.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Good evening, all. For Mount Whitney and our outstanding student, we are going to start with citizenship growth with senior Gino Hunter. Gino was nominated by Counselor Fernando Viveros. Gino has grown and matured over the past 3 years. Freshman year, Gino had a tendency to wander and socialize outside of class, but over the next 2.5 years, he has taken ownership over his academic progress and school identity. He's a young man who is polite, kind, respectful, and represents the pioneer spirit well. Gino is an active member of our ASB leadership class and is a friendly face around campus. Mount Whitney congratulates Gino Hunter for his growth in citizenship. Our next outstanding student is in English, and that is junior Jared Rodriguez. Jared is nominated by his English teacher, Mr. Contreras. Jared has an exemplary student with a perfect attendance and earning 122% in his English class, the highest grade in all of Mr. Contreras' English 3 classes. Jared has been diligent in his independent reading, finishing several books this year. He completes extra credit assignments, participates in every school dress-up day, has memorized and recited the preamble to the Constitution, and writes persuasive argumentative paragraphs as his writing continues to strengthen. Jared is an outstanding student because he isn't satisfied until he achieves his best. Congratulations to Jared as Mount Whitney's high school outstanding student in English. Our next outstanding student is in world language, and that is senior Dulce Maria Diaz. Dulce is nominated by teacher, Mr. Torres. Dulce has been a very successful student during her 4 years at Mount Whitney. She has taken several advanced placement classes, including AP Spanish Literature and Culture. To confirm her proficiency in the AP Spanish classes, Dulce has passed both AP Spanish tests, which are extremely difficult. She is currently ranked in the top 10 of her senior class, and Dulce holds a college-weighted GPA of 4.08. Mount Whitney offers his sincere congratulations to Dulce Diaz. Great job. Our next outstanding student is in agriculture, and that is senior Emily Salamanca. Emily was nominated by her teacher, Mrs. Brown. Emily is a 4-year FFA member and will be a pathway completer in both ag construction and ag science. Emily has participated in the livestock show team, showing goats for the Tulare County Fair. She has competed on cotton judging teams and has completed many projects in the ag construction shop and in ag science, including raising poultry and growing plants in the school garden. Please join me as we congratulate Emily Salamanca for a job well done. Our first USAV Fall Student of the Season is senior Sydney Reynoso. She is nominated by ASB, and that would be Mrs. Johnson and Mr. Preheim. Sydney is actively involved in ASB. She brings experience to the program, and she is the go-to person when help is needed. She's actively involved in the Mount Whitney yearbook, and during the last 2 years, Sydney has served as an editor. Her goal is to work in graphic design, and Sydney also has an interest in sports medicine. While at Mount Whitney, she has worked with our school trainer for the last 2 years and also part of our basketball program. We are proud to honor Sydney with this USAV award. Congratulations, Sydney. And our next USAV Fall Student of the Season is Tahoon Park, senior, and he too is nominated by Mrs. Johnson and Mr. Pram through ASB. Tahoon is an exceptional senior. He has been in the Mount Whitney Pioneer Band for 4 years, including our advanced jazz band that was here earlier, the marching band, and the jazz band. He's also one of our drum majors. Tahoon is the president of 3 clubs on campus: World Language Club, the Academy of Health Science, and the Mount Whitney Band. He is on track for being a lifetime CSF member, and he's also been in the Pioneer Baseball program for 4 years. Tahoon has a positive personality and is a real role model on our campus. Congratulations, Tahoon, as Mount Whitney's USC Fall Student of the Season.
Let's give Mount Whitney one more big round of applause. Well done to each of your students. Last but definitely not least, we have Redwood High School with Mr. Brandon Gridiron.
Thank you. So our first student is Marilee Kuhn. She's a student of the season representing our agricultural department and is nominated by her ag teacher, Ms. Velaz. Marilee is a leader of our FFA chapter, currently acting as president. Marilee is involved in areas on and off campus as she is active in dance, force, CSF, and a livestock showman at a school farm. Marilee has an amazing work ethic as evidenced by her well-rounded experience and intense time commitment, all while maintaining an outstanding GPA of a 4.5. Join me in congratulating Marilee Kuhn. Our next student is Donya Hassan Shahi. Donya Hassan Shahi is the student of the season representing our English department and is nominated by her AP English teacher, Mrs. Yuritsa, excuse me. Donya's character shines just as brightly outside the classroom, known for her kindness and empathy. She's a peer and compassionate friend to many. She's happy to help. Attitude and unfazed approach to significant challenges are truly inspiring. Donya is an example of what a true ranger should be, and we wish her the very best in her future. Join me in congratulating Donya Hasashi. Pablo Amado could not join us tonight, but he is being recognized as a season representing our world language department. And so we'll give a congratulations to Pablo. Magnus Burgess is a student of the season representing our student services division as a character pillar and is nominated by our assistant principal, Mr. Franklin. Magnus has shown considerable leadership and citizenship so far this year at Redwood. Magnus is an athlete, and Magnus this year has started the Breakfast Club here on campus with an intention of bringing students together to help positively affect our campus. Magnus is another example of what a true ranger should be, and we wish him the very best in his future. Join me in congratulating Magnus Burgess. Our next student is Brianna Chavez. Brianna Chavez is a student of the season representing our ASB department and is nominated by her ASB teacher, Mrs. Aston. Brianna is punctual, creative, and kind. Her quiet confidence carries her every day. She focuses on making sure our senior events and activities are inclusive and engaging. Brianna goes above and beyond to help others, even when she isn't her responsibility. Brianna is an example of what a true ranger should be, and we wish her the very best in her future. Join me in congratulating Brianna Chavez. And last but not least, Riley Yeagle. Riley is the student of the season representing our ASB department and is nominated by her teacher, Mrs. Aston. Riley radiates positivity and energy everywhere she goes. Riley is involved in multiple clubs and active on campus. Riley is always brainstorming new ideas and ways to improve. She is someone other students can go and always ask for help and lead by example. Riley is an example of what a true ranger should be, and we wish for the very best in the future. Congratulations, Riley.
All right, let's give one more big hand to the Redwood team here. Parents, you're more than welcome to stay. We have a lot of business to do, probably a couple hours worth. You're more than welcome to stay, but if you also did want to step out with your student, this would be a great time for you to do so, Mr. Kuhn. If you want to take off, Might be a good time. So thank you very much.
With that, we will move on to focus on student learning and presenter Superintendent Schrum.
Well, thank you, Board President Gaby, board members, staff. Let's give our students another round of applause and Mount Whitney Jazz Band. Talk about spotlighting. So this is going to be a little tricky. Turn the page, handheld mic, do the clicker. All right, we'll see how this goes. All right. I want to give a shout out as we get ready to start the spotlight to Chief Operations Officer Eric Kerr and team. You know, one of the things that we've been working on, not only as we modernize our schools, but just making sure, you know, our facilities look professional. And so as you can see here, our boardroom has undergone a little bit of a revamp, and just think it turned out phenomenal. And so thank you to that team who they worked over the break, obviously, because, you know, we have board meetings every month. So thank you to that team for, you know, our boardroom refresh. So as we talk about tonight, Spotlight on the District, of course, this connects to our vision and our mission and our core beliefs and commitments. And so tonight we're going to see exemplars of this in our students and staff that we're going to spotlight. So we're going to begin with, this was just a few weeks ago, our holidays. And before we went out on break, our schools were continuing some of their holiday going into winter break festivities. Here you see Golden Oak and Global Learning Charter with ornament making and decorating, and Cocoa with Santa. Engagement and fun help ensure our students stay connected to school, and not only our students, but our parents as well, as many of these events were very well attended by parents and families, and of course our teachers who put in extra time to do these events. So thank you for that. Also, in the spirit of giving back, Toys for Tots is a well-known campaign. We know that we sit in a very impoverished area when we think about Tulare County and the state of California. So grateful, over the course of 12 days, Oak Grove Elementary's ASB students and staff gathered more than 1,000 new unwrapped toys. What an incredible achievement for our staff and students. Thank you to our families for their kindness and their generosity. So shout out to those students and that staff. Visual and performing arts, of course, we saw tonight the jazz band, which was wonderful. After our last board meeting, we had several winter performances by our transitional kindergarten students. You can see there, students practiced for several weeks and performed in front of friends and families. A big shout out to our staff for making these performances possible. And continuing that, of course, we're moving into our spring musical season. And so on the left here, you see the Rotary Theater hosted the Four Creeks Elementary Drama Club, who performed the musical Goldilocks and the Three Bears for family and friends. Nearly 100 students rehearsed after school for several months and executed it flawlessly. So we're thankful for all of our after-school programs that provide these opportunities for our students. And our first musical of the year, El Diamante, kicked us off with Matilda. Congratulations to those students and staff who worked hard to put this show together for our community. And I know several of us, I was there Friday night, and several board members as well over the course of the run of the show. So great job. And also on that theme of refreshing locations, that was my first time to visit now that we've done some refresh at that theater as well. So great job to those teams. And so thank you for that. Moving on to sports over the winter break, while we may take a break, many of our performing arts, sports teams, those teachers, coaches, and others continue. Redwood and Mount Whitney hosted the longest running 16-team bracketed tournament in California. Redwood earned third place over Tulare Union. Golden West advanced to the Consolation Championship. After the championship, the following students were named to the all-tournament team: Cole Gilchrist, Redwood; Isaac Esquivel, Redwood; Santana Guerrero from El Diamante, who was also named Most Inspirational Player. Very cool. And on the right, you see Redwood also hosted their 66th annual Wrestling Invitational. Out of 45 teams, Redwood placed first. 5 VUSD wrestlers won individual titles in their weight class: Isaac Mendoza, Redwood; Adrian Delon, Redwood; Enrique Segura, Redwood; Kay Pisanoff, Redwood; and then Blake Trelez from El Diamante. So good job. Congratulations to those students. Moving on, continuing in our sports, our esports teams, very proud of, we've talked about our esports teams quite a bit, but special recognition from La Jolla Middle School is proud to announce Tasman Field as VUSD's first ever reigning champion of the Fall Major 23 for the Pacific Region Middle School Esports League. Tasman's exceptional skills earned him the coveted #1 seed among nearly 200 participants and 16 middle school players in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Tasman, please stand and be recognized. Is he here this evening? Right there. Also want to recognize our staff, of course, and parents and families who help make this possible on your journey. And I'm sure there are some high schools right now looking forward to you continuing to articulate through our system and continue your esports success. So congratulations and thank you for being here this evening. We're very proud of you. We can give him another round of applause. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Also here tonight, we just recognized this gentleman, Magnus Burgess, senior at Redwood High School, was recognized by KSEE 24 and the Tulare County Office of Education Characters Matters. Magnus was recognized for his idea of creating a breakfast club on campus where students could come together to have breakfast. It's because of his inclusiveness and effort to start this club that we recognize Magnus tonight. Magnus, I'm not sure if he made it, but he is in here. Please stand. Let us recognize you. Congratulations. Now, speaking of, while some of us were taking a break, maybe taking some days visiting family, we had a very strong winter intercession program. Thank you to all of our partners from ELOP, all of our other partners at all levels that helped come together to do this. Pro Youth, VUSD in partnership with Pro Youth, offered project-based and enrichment learning every day during our winter break. Over 500 students enrolled to participate in art, STEM, and culinary arts and Lego building. And several of us, I think, wanted to join that, but we were out of town. So we'll try to do that. But thank you so much to our partners. Pro Youth has been with us for many, many years. And thank you for being here tonight. And just continuing this because we want all of our students to know that just because school day may end, the learning and all of those things continue, not only after school, but during our breaks as well. And I think this is the second year we've been able to offer some of this exceptional programming. So thank you all for working together to make that possible. Now, we're going to have a report in just a minute talking about some things that we need to work on as a district. And part of that, to be able to change outcomes for students, we have to think about how are we building capacity to do things differently. And part of that is leadership. And so this board approved a partnership, and we've since secured some grants and other things to help us to continue to fund this leadership development. And so part of our schools that are participating in this at the winter program, they take a team with them to what's called the mid-year winter program. And it's held in Oklahoma City. It was a little chilly, but a little windy, but that's okay. But I have to say, so our schools that are participating in our first cohort, Golden West, Divisadero, Golden Oak, Crowley, Washington, and Goshen. Also in this group, very thankful for VUTA representatives Greg Price and Patrick Hemphill for being there, part of this, because what we've talked about is improvement is a journey we have to all be on together. It's not one person or one group, right? It's a collective effort. And this demonstrated that. And I've had the opportunity, some folks are aware to be associated with this program now for several years in other positions and have taken different districts and schools through this program. But I can say without a doubt, and I'm not making this up, of all the years I've gone, usually you've got, some challenges, focus. It's hard, right? It's 3 full days of learning, right? And you're trying to pay attention. You've got stuff happening back home, and it's very hard sometimes to stay focused. I can say without a doubt, I've never been more impressed with a group of individuals, our teachers, our leaders, for staying plugged in and focused for 3 full days. It was absolutely phenomenal. And I'll look forward to the impact they're going to have on their campuses as they take this learning back and think about how do we do some things differently to change outcomes for kids. So shout out to all of those individuals that participated in that winter program, and I'll be back to the board in the next month or two to announce, we're excited that we'll be having a second cohort entering this program, and we'll be sharing more information about that. And again, it's a 2-year program, so these individuals are in the midpoint of the first year. So continuing on with some of our observances over the course of December and January, National Special Education Day, the Great Kindness Challenge, National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month are some of the highlights or some of the items that we recognize this month. And thank you for our students have taken leadership in some of those areas as well. We're very proud of at our high schools. Also, we talked about our board being Governance Team of the Year, but CSBA does also designate January as Board Appreciation Month. So once again, want to recognize our board members, clerk, and president for the opportunity to lead in this incredible school district. Thank you for your work and your dedication. So happy School Board Appreciation Month. Social media, we've had some different posts this month, including High Five Friday. I didn't realize that was in here. Superintendents to watch, and then winter break information on our family and community resource building. So thank you. As we all know, it takes a team to make these things happen. Social media. So ELOP highlight on our district-wide basketball tournament, winter break informational video, and start of the spring semester reminder. So thank you everybody for coming back. And then continuing with Martin Luther King Appreciation, Martin Luther King Jr. Day on Monday, and then a welcome back video for our families and district staff. And of course, many of our schools obviously had educational components and other things associated with the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday last week and this week. And finally, I have a little bit of a special recognition here. So now I get to put some people on spotlight. Our board is very committed to being fiscally responsible and also transparent with our practices. And so I'm very excited to announce that for the first time, VUSD was recently awarded the Pathway to Meritorious Budget Award, the MBA, from the Association of School Business Officials International, known as ASBO, for the 23-24 school year. This award recognizes districts who develop high quality, easy to understand budgets internally and with the community. While this is an incredible achievement for the entire finance team, Chief Business Officer Hernandez, as well as our district and our board, who continuously work toward transparency and fiscal responsibility, there are 2 people I want to give a spotlight to who really helped shepherd this process through. The first of those being Jessica Villarreal. If you would please stand. Yes, you have to stand. Yes, everyone stand. And Kathy Zavala. And I'm not sure if she's here tonight. Yep, there you are. And do we have did we want to do a picture with the board? Yeah, if you two want to come up, and Nathan, we'll do a picture if our board would come down for that. This is a huge, because the budget is very complicated, and so anything we can do to help make that transparent to our community is phenomenal. And so also have to say, as the board comes down, the board's aware that Jessica is moving on. She accepted a promotional opportunity in another district, which shall remain nameless. But I want Jessica to know on behalf of the board how much we value the work that you've done in Visalia Unified, and you will always be welcome back when you discover, that you want to come on back. So thank you for your work. Thank you, Kathy and Jessica, and entire finance team for helping bring home this award for the first time in VUSD's history.
Thank you. Board, any questions, comments? Thank you. It's always fabulous to see all of the wonderful things going on, but we do have to end on, Jessica, we will be sad to see you leave us temporarily, I hear, because I guess you're coming back, which is awesome. That means the next item. So Visalia Unified School District Partnership with ABLE, update on our progress. I'm going to turn this over to Superintendent Schrum.
Thank you, Board President Gaby and board members. As you know, a few months ago, you authorized us to enter a partnership with a group called ABLE, and their job is to really come in and look at our academic program, look at our resources, our allocation, and really kind of and I use the term loosely in a way, but kind of conduct an audit, if you will, like look at our practices How do they align with what we say we want, our outcomes for students? And this is really precipitated by our foundation. As a board, you have said we believe all students can achieve at high levels and demonstrate continuous growth. Family and community engagement is key to student success, and learning environment should be safe, supportive, and innovative. And what we know is we're working hard to achieve that, but that is currently not the reality for every student in every classroom in every school and every teacher all across our district. We have work to do. Our academic dashboard, the data released by the state, confirms we have a lot of work to do. We're proud of successes that we've had. We're proud of the advancements, but we are by no means satisfied with where we are right now until we can truly say that every student is learning every day and that those beliefs and commitments are the reality across all of our campuses and for every student. And so we entered this partnership because it's our job at the district level to analyze our systems. We create the conditions at the district level for our schools to be successful, schools for our students, so on and so forth. And again, we know we have a lot of work to do. And there's a quote that I've used with the board and our community a lot from Deming, who says, our system's designed perfectly to get the results it's getting. But we have said we're not satisfied with the results that we're getting. So we really have two options. We can keep doing what we're doing, only harder, which we all know that leads to the definition of insanity, right? Or we need to look at our systems and think about how do we do things differently. If on our own, we just woke up one morning, oh, we need to do these things, we'd be doing them. So this isn't about people working hard or not working hard. This is about the conditions we're setting through our systems are contributing to the results that we're getting. We have said we're not satisfied with the results we're getting. So what do we do about it? And hence entering this partnership to help us to begin to identify where do we start? What are some systems we need to look at? It's not easy to change systems and practices that have been in place for a while. I want to acknowledge that. But again, I go back to we have two choices. We can accept where we are and be okay with that, or we can push on our systems and say, you know what, we do need to do some things differently. And so I'm going to turn it over now to Assistant Superintendent Mark Thompson, who's going to share a little bit about our academic findings. And then Chief Business Officer Nathan Hernandez is going to share a little bit about what we're seeing from the resource analytics that our partners ABLE presented to us. And so I'll turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Shrum. So our agenda for this report, we'll be looking at why ABLE, gathering the data, academic analytics initial findings, resource analytics initial findings, and then our next steps. So why ABLE? As a board, you had developed the vision, every student empowered for future success. This vision charges us to ask a few questions. Are VUSD students ready for college and career readiness? How do we know? How do we identify the gaps to readiness and fill them in to ensure that all of our students are college and career ready? A second thought comes to mind as well. Does anyone like having their time wasted? Do you want to miss out on an opportunity because you didn't know about it? Or because it didn't fit in your daily schedule? In education, one of our biggest challenges is the limitation of time. Students have a finite amount of time during the school day and in their school career. Students have a limited amount of time in their secondary school years, so we must ensure that that time is well spent and quality learning is happening in all classrooms. Through ABLE, they use software and experienced professionals to provide us with tools to analyze and visualize our systems so that we can take action to modify and adjust our secondary systems to improve student outcomes and opportunities. Systems, for example, on how we register students into classes, master scheduling, what classes are offered and when they are offered, resource efficiency. Are we being efficient and effective with our staffing allocations. So gathering the data. Looking at this table, you will see that ABLE has completed the equitable outcome analysis for all 7 high schools for the 2023 graduating class, meaning the students that just graduated for us in USD. Equal opportunity is a transcript analysis that provides detailed data on student progress through our secondary school system. The analysis is focused on college and career readiness, which includes academic intensity, advanced coursework, GPA, persistence and CTE pathways. In the slides to follow, you will get an opportunity to see a few samples of the data and the initial academic findings. Next on the table, so this bottom piece here, you will find that ABLE is currently in the process of conducting a resource analysis of the 4 comprehensive high schools and the 5 middle schools. Resource analytics looks at all of our resources, number of students, number of staff, rooms, budget, time, meaning bell schedules, and it matches it against our core beliefs and commitments. Later in this presentation, Mr. Hernandez will provide you a sample of the data of the initial resource findings. So our initial academic findings, while we are confident that staff in our system are working extremely hard, we have no doubt, to educate and support all of our students, we are finding that our system itself is causing gaps in our student achievement and that the ability to access these opportunities. In this section, you will get a sample of some of the data that our district and site leadership teams will have on hand to do an analysis to inform our upcoming initiatives and work plans. First, just a little background. ABLE has developed what they call an academic intensity measure, or AIM, as a measure for college and career readiness. The AIM score is based on the persistence in academic coursework, advanced coursework, example, upper level classes, AP dual enrollment, and course progression, meaning how a student is working through the progression of classes. The AIM score focuses on the student's progression of classes through English, math, science, social studies, and world languages. The AIM score is highly predictive of college readiness and the persistence beyond the first year of college. I say that again. It's not just getting to college, but actually persevering through the first year of college due to a student being prepared for the rigor of college. So this graph here shows the district AIM data for the 2023 graduating class. As you can see, based on ABLE's analysis, 23%, or I'm looking at that far right-hand side, so highly ready and ready, of our students are ready for the rigor of college. We can all agree that we want more for our students, our family, and community. We have heard from students and families on how their students were highly successful in our system, and then they went off to college, and they really struggled that first year. This is our starting point. And this provides us a clear picture of where we are at so that we can be strategic with our implementation plan to increase our college readiness, along with having a consistent metric to measure our progress. Now, how does this compare to our district state data? 2023 A through G data was 47% of our students are A through G ready. A reminder, A through G is a required course completion for students to meet the minimum eligibility for a 4-year UC or a CSU college. Again, this is eligibility, not for that they are prepared for that rigor. So again, that 23%, which is consistent with what we're showing. Next, you'll see the 2023 college and career readiness data, which is 44% of our students that are prepared. For college and career readiness, there's 13 factors to qualify, with A through G being one of those factors. So what does those numbers tell us? Our initial finding is this: we have work to do to prepare our students for the rigor of college and career. From a district level, we recognize that we have district systems to fix to move all students forward in all of our schools. We also recognize that there's work to be done at the school sites, but we first need to make sure we set the conditions at the district level. In this slide, you'll see the high school AIM scores. While they vary between school sites, ABLE provides us this tool to compare our AIM data to other like schools. Currently, our schools are in the lower range compared to like schools. Again, and this is comparative to others in the nation that are like schools. Again, we are focused on the entire district, not just one school site, as we recognize we're in the low range in all of them. So it's our commitment to move all of them forward. So this one, if you look at your graph, I know it's kind of hard to see as it's small, but I will kind of walk us through this one. So this is a sample analysis. This is one tool that is provided to us by ABLE. Okay. So if you look right here, or the integrated math 1, that's freshmen that are starting at integrated math 1 at a particular school site. You might ask the question, but hey, Mark, there's like 400 students there potentially at that school site. Why is that number so low? So let me explain that number. So students that took math 1 as an 8th grader and they started in math 2 would not show up in this particular data because this is a 4-year cohort data. Also, a student that maybe started in math principles or another class would not show up in this cohort. Also, let's say a student, they were 3 years at this school site and the 4th year they finished off at another school site, they would not be in this data because it's very targeted to showing 4-year progressions of every student that was at that school site starting in integrated math 1. So again, here we show 176 students. And what this graph shows is what happens to students as they go through our system. So as sophomores, if you look here, we have integrated math 2, 145 of them go into math 2, while 25 are retake integrated math 1. Then you go up here, their junior year, and we have 93 students who are now at juniors are taking integrated math 3. We have 47 that are retaking math 2. And we have a handful of students that are still taking or that are retaking math 1 again. Finally, you'll see the senior year. We'll see 127 of those students starting again out of that 176 integrated math 1. In our current system, 127 of them do not take a math their senior year. A handful of them are taking upper division stats, pre-cal. Again, a handful of them are taking integrated math 3 again. Some are taking math 2 and some are taking math 1. I think you guys can see how powerful this tool is because it actually gives you a flow of where students are on-ramping and off-ramping. One thing I want to say thank you to the board is for instituting the graduation requirement for all the students for a 3rd year math. This change starts with our incoming freshmen this upcoming year. And looking at the data, I believe is going to have a profound impact for our students. Also, as you are aware, we have been working really hard as a team, focusing on with Math 1 teachers to adjust our Math 1 offering and to ensure that it is more rigorous with academic supports built in. As we know, students are successful in Math 1 with rigor, they will be more successful in Math 2 and so on. Board, this is one sample of what the ABLE tool provides us in one subject area in one school. Our team will be doing a deeper dive into all AIM subject areas with this tool and can look at different starting points, meaning we could say students that started in Math 2, where did they end up? Students that started in Math Principles, where did they end up? So we can look at very much more targeted. We can also look at in science where they started, what was their progressions, in ELA, in world language. So we can look at different ones on that. And then what our goal is to identify trends and patterns so that we can focus on improving student outcomes for all of our students. On this slide, this is a district breakdown of grade point average. ABLE has identified that a 3.33 GPA is a cut point that a student would need to be prepared for the rigor of college. The ABLE tool allows us to look at subgroups and dissect the data to identify areas of strengths and areas of improvement. One area that I just wanted to call out. So this is one, whoops, let's go back that way. Oh, wow, one goal. Let me get you back to that. So on this one, we'll look here at program. So I know many of you always ask us too, can we look at different demographics, different subgroups? The answer is yes. Today's just a quick sample. Again, we can look at all those different things with this tool. But in this sample, one area I want to acknowledge as a key finding and call out is students that are on an IEP. You can see that right here. The purple is showing those that are meeting that. The light orange is saying they did not meet, but were close. And then the yellow is showing that they're behind. While we understand there's going to be some gap between our students on IEP and general education student, in our initial work with ABLE, it was brought to our attention of a concern that they had is when they looked at our special education data, that gap was larger than any others they had seen with other work that they've had. This is an area of concern. This is an initial finding that we have, and we know we got to change what we're doing, adjust things so that way we can ensure that all of our students are showing success and we can close that gap. So overall, our findings in this one is that our system is creating larger academic performance gaps for specific groups. Again, our work will be next is to utilize this tool to dig deeper in so that we can target in on where we need to focus and change our system. Our next one, this is a breakdown of our college technical education or CTE classes. Students are identified in 3 categories here. So you'll see them here. You'll see a non-participant. You'll see a participant, dabbler, explorer, and then a concentrator. And so just those, a non-participant is obviously a student that hasn't taken a CTE course. A dabbler or explorer is one that took at least 1 CTE course, but didn't complete a pathway. And then a concentrator is one student that completed a CTE pathway. As you can see, we have many opportunities for students to engage in CTE. And many of our students are taking advantage of that, right? So we're seeing over 90% of our, just about 90% of our students are taking advantage of a CTE course. While we want students to explore and dabble, which is very important, we also need to take a deeper look into our data to determine the roadblocks and scheduling challenges and course sequences that might be stopping students from becoming concentrators. And why does that matter? A concentrator would have more in-depth and complete knowledge of a trade that prepares them with the certification and knowledge to enter a trade school or a profession. Again, with all of this, it's about that persistence to go onto those higher levels and having that opportunity, that course progress and progression to be able to attain it. Again, board, this is a sample of the district average. We have this data for each school site subgroup for our team to further do analysis and develop a comprehensive plan. So again, our initial finding is that our system has created some gaps for students to become CTE completers. Now at this time, I hand over to Mr. Hernandez and he will go through the resource analysis.
Good evening, board. So as Mr. Thompson mentioned, there are 2 sections to the report. There is the academic findings, and then we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the resource analytics area. As you also mentioned, this is an area that is currently still in process, so we'll be getting some information, some further reports from ABL at the end of the week. However, we do have some initial data that we can share around how we use instructional time, our staff, and the efficiency of our systems for scheduling students and staffing courses. What we're seeing initially are areas that we can focus on to improve our systems for delivering instruction, to improve student achievement, and the ability for student access to equitable opportunities. In this section, we'll get a sample of some of the data that our district and site leadership teams will analyze to inform our initiatives and work plans. So we're going to go through some of this data. It's pretty high level at this point, but we are seeing some things that are kind of sticking out to us and that ABL has shared with us is different than what they're seeing from other districts and across the nation. This first slide here is around instructional minutes and bell schedules. And you can see for both middle school and high school here on the left, this is annual time for all courses. And we're seeing some pretty large variations between some of our school sites. And that again is based on schedule. That is based around those bell schedules and things that we have some control over. So we need to do some deeper dive and digging into what this means and where we can make adjustments to our school schedules. This next slide is the number of courses offered by our high schools. And we know we have high schools with varying enrollments. And so, looking at the total enrollments, they're all pretty similar. And so while we know that does allow access to our students in some of those smaller high schools, it does come at the cost of some efficiencies in how we do staffing for our schools. And so definitely more areas for us to focus on. This again is hard to read, but again, just high level, takes our total courses and identifies courses that are singleton, meaning that there is one course at that particular school site for that subject, and no other courses at that school site, doubletons to so forth. And we have a very high number, according to ABL, of singleton courses, and that can be from things like AP courses or also things like our academies or CTE. And so we recognize that that's the case, and there we need to do some further analysis to see how we can strengthen our schedules to reuse our resources more efficiently. And this last slide is the courses that have low enrollment. And so we're digging in to figure out what is the reasons for some of those low enrollments. We know we have students who sometimes are unscheduled for part of their day. And so again, a large percentage of our courses or sections are considered to have low enrollment in our high schools and middle schools. And so those were some of the key findings. One of the bright spots was our average attendance rates are returning back to normal from when we were in COVID and during pandemic when our attendance was really low. That has come back. But as we also mentioned, instructional minutes, they vary by site. Our average class sizes compared to other districts that have been analyzed are low. And course enrollment varies across school sites with, again, low overall course enrollment and those high number of singleton courses, all areas for us to dig into as we get further reports with ABL. And I will turn it back to Mr. Thompson on our next steps.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. So our next steps are this, right? Our partnership with ABL dovetails perfectly with our strategic plan. Since this spring, we will determine key initiatives and develop work plans with measurable student outcomes. So if you look up here first, right up here, we will do in the next 2 months, the district and site leadership will do an analysis using the ABLE tools and data to finalize key findings. Then later on in March, April, we will place our key findings under key initiatives in our district strategic plan. Next, we will develop work plans and declare desired outcomes. Some potential areas of focus could include master scheduling, course offerings and when they are offered, how we schedule student classes, progression of classes, and resource allocation. We will also implement our strategic plan. So if you go to the bottom one here. We will implement our strategic plan at the start of the 24-25 school year, and we'll be providing you with updates on progress towards our targeted measure student outcomes through our strategic plan. To close, thank you for approving our partnership with ABLE. The tools and data gained by their partnership with ABLE will inform our strategic plan so that we can be more precise in creating desired post-secondary outcomes for all of our students. Now I'm going to invite Mr. Shrum to conclude our report.
So thank you, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Hernandez, and our teams for working on this. We've had, as he said, a couple of initial meetings as the results start to come back. And tonight you just saw a high-level sampling of the types of data and information that we have. So we can break it down by every course, by every student, every demographic that you can think of, really to see what is the journey of our students in Visalia Unified. And while we're proud of some of the work, right, we have a very high graduation rate. That's wonderful. But once they graduate, are they prepared for what's next? You know, I heard loud and clear from our community when I came here that, you know, our students did really well in high school and then they got to college or got to the next step and suddenly they were struggling, right? Which we see reflected in the transcript analysis. And so, you know, it can be a little bit disheartening when you see information like this and be thinking, you know, well, I work really hard. I do everything, right? And so I want to again stress this isn't that we're not working hard or that we're not doing the best we can. I believe everybody gets up every day and comes to work to do the best they can. But now that we can see some areas we need to target and focus on, how we began this report, we now need to look at our systems that we might need to redesign. We might need to address how we schedule students. We might need to talk about course progressions. We might need to talk about what do we do for that student that's continually failing integrated math 1, right? What can we do to disrupt that so that those numbers change and those outcomes change? And it will mean we have to change the way we do some things that we're used to doing. But I'm committed and I have confidence in our cabinet team. I have confidence in our teachers, our principals, and others that we're ready to do this work. We have the team that can do this work. And now we have some support to help us identify the areas we need to focus in and then how that will help shape the initiatives that we design for our strategic plan. So as Mark said at the end, those are kind of some of our next steps. And we already know the importance of some of the resource allocation pieces in light of the budget and some other things that we know, we can't necessarily afford to have under-enrolled courses, right? Those are resources that we have to be thoughtful about. And so that's the work. Our teams are going to be digging into this data, thinking about what it means for their areas, their schools, and then again, really thinking about how does this shape the initiatives that we develop for our strategic plan. So thank you again, board, for allowing us to enter this partnership. I think this is going to be very impactful as we move forward. And so that concludes our report. We, of course, all remain available for any questions.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for this. I want to thank principals. There's a lot of hard work ahead. I thank you. You're willing to put the time in. I've always had so many questions like, I heard a kid today finally had a 4.5. We don't have kids with, I always hear 4.2 or 4.3. I never hear those super high GPAs that I hear in Clovis, and our kids are capable, and I believe we can do that. And I think this is going to be a tool to help that. I have a zillion questions. I can't wait till a work session to really dig into this. So thank you. And again, thank you, principals and teachers. You work your butts off. I thank you for that. And I'm excited because this is going to be a game changer for our kids. Thank you.
Any other board comment?
Just real quick, I want to reinforce from a personal perspective that this is important information to have at hand. Making good decisions is based on two things. One is having data available to gauge or judge things by. And the second is the complexity of the problem that you're trying to apply that data to. This is extraordinarily complex stuff. If you go back to that on-ramp, off-ramp chart that you showed, there was page 11, there's probably about 30 people in the district right now that see their work that way. Not that that's the only way to see it or even the best way to see it, but it's an important way to see it. Those people are a very small handful of student services APs and your counselors who have experience and knowledge of the work they do. Because they look at kids like, didn't get it this year, got to go back in next year, and that's the way they graph it out. If we understand the data coming at us and can put it in forms that allow us to make good decisions and not to be overwhelmed by it, that's how we win the game. This gives us the starting point to do that. It's bounded rationality. There we go again. This is something that gives us a platform upon which to make even better decisions than we've made in the past. So huge stuff. Thanks to everybody for engaging in this work. It's going to be challenging. It's going to change the world we work in, but it's also going to yield immeasurable results if we're thoughtful and empathetic in the way that we go about it.
Thank you. And yes, I think most of all, I appreciate that AIM score is looking at how they're persevering through college. I think it's a huge disservice if we get them there and then they aren't successful. One question I have, and it might be a question for a session, because I do think it's probably much down the road, but at some point, will they look at the rigor of our classes? Because we also tend to have students that do get A's in AP classes and then get to college and are not successful. And so at some point, is able to do that as well. And I know that's down the road, and first we have to get the classes in place, but I think that's a huge component of it. Is our coursework, are our grades really indicative of students' like skills and knowledge?
That's definitely something we can look into. That is not in their initial plan, but that's definitely something we can look into.
Awesome.
Thank you. Likewise, I think this tool is fascinating. I love seeing the sort of disaggregated data around English language learners, the students on IEP, et cetera. I'm also wondering if we could explore that data for foster students and low socioeconomic students to look at how we can better improve course access to those specific students. And I also wanted to understand the aim a little bit better, because I know there was the breakdown of kind of 3.3 as they use as a threshold. Because as we talk about and as we look at that slide that compared our A through G completion rates, which is around 47%, to which would still be less than their academic intensity measure, the AIM. I'm wondering, right? And those, for those of us, social scientists or statisticians in the room, we know correlation doesn't equal causation, but I'd be curious to know, for example, how many of those 23% are also meeting A through G, or are there some students who meet A through G and aren't meeting the sort of AIM measure? And if so, why is that? So I just kind of want to understand that a little bit better, as because as we sit here as policymakers and as we look at future conversations around graduation requirements, et cetera, it's important to understand that difference and what we can do to have higher expectations, but as Board President Gaby mentioned, also maintaining a very high level of rigor.
Thanks.
And
Yeah,
if I
can
might
do
ask,
just a
Go ahead.
quick
Yeah.
overview of that. So one, again, we just gave a sample tonight of the data. We have data for all subgroups, so that's worth there. Second thing is the AIM score. So how they do it is they rank. They basically score so many points for each class, the rigor of that class, meaning like a Spanish 3 would potentially have more rigor than a Spanish 1. They're doing that and they're looking for out of 25 points that they're doing that to determine rigor of the classes the students actually take in the classes. So that's why it's a bit different than A through G is just, is kind of that minimum. They're actually pushing it along further, looking at those higher division classes, the dual enrollment, the APs, and they basically use that equation against every transcript, and that's what that number is coming across.
If I could ask one more question too, I appreciate very much Superintendent Schrum and Mr. Thompson, your work with this. The idea of the AIM is very thrilling because I've seen it with my own sons that went to USD schools, that their GPA may have been very high upon graduating, but college was a different picture as to what they retained, what they really understood. And I guess what I'm excited about too is that this isn't just an academic exercise. I mean, it could end up being that way. We all pull these numbers together and we all feel really good about knowing what they are, but then what do we do with them? That what I hear you saying is that we're actually using this as like that flow to actually see what's the progression that we see a student doing, and where can we encourage that progression rather than just observing it. Oh, they dropped off. Okay, well, we're seeing that we failed them rather than did we put them in the right class. We want a system that develops good learning and thorough learning to then meet all the requirements that we're looking at. My last question is, I guess that's not a question, that's a statement. How long do we have currently the contract with ABLE? Is it a multi-year? Is it year by year? How do we know, again, to do these measurements?
At this point, it's a 1 year. really the goal is this, right? It dovetails right into our strategic plan. This is actually giving us targeted information that we can utilize to inform our strategic plan. Our strategic plan is a developed plan for 5 years of development and growth. I think you guys can see in these tools, we have plenty to work on and focus on for these next 5 years to really work on that. So this was very targeted and purposeful during this time in order to inform our strategic plan. So we will see initiatives and looking for student outcomes in that plan and develop that plan over years. So to ensure that our students are getting better outcomes.
And just to further answer that question, this was the initial partnership. We may move into looking at data and determine that there are future partnership opportunities. And if we do, then we would bring that back to the board, for consideration.
Any further comments? Thank you for the report. I do think it's very exciting work ahead for our students. General public comment. General public comment on any school-related topic may be heard at this time. The board asks that any public comment on an item listed on tonight's agenda be addressed at the time the item comes up for discussion by the board. To comply with the Brown Act, California's open public meeting law, board discussion is limited to items on the agenda. Therefore, when receiving public comment for items not on the agenda, the board's role is limited to receiving such comments, and the board may not engage in dialogue with the public. The board thanks the public for its participation in public comment and understanding of the board's responsibilities. Pursuant to board policy, the board may limit individual comments to no more than 3 minutes and individual topics to 20 minutes. It is recommended you begin your comments by stating your name. Do I have any public comment? I see none. Oh.
Hi, my name's Clay Ipson. I'm the president of Health Force, which provides the Junior Medical Academy program to VUSD. I'm also the parent of 6 VUSD students. Health Force's mission is to really impact lives through community collaboration, strengthening a diverse healthcare workforce, and increasing access to care. We created Junior Medical Academy to really meet the industry's demand of stronger healthcare workforce here in our local communities, with kind of the emphasis of sometimes high school is a little too late to introduce that. And so we really took that to heart and introduced Junior Medical Academy for 4th through 6th grade students to really help them start learning about science and math and how that applies to these great healthcare careers. And really, it's about showing a diversity of healthcare careers, that it's more than doctor, nurse, but also to show that these hands-on activities that they do can really be applied to things they're going to learn. I wanted to share a few semester highlights, and I brought packets for everybody here with a little blurb and also a Junior Medical Academy patch for you. But last semester, we had 480 students participate in Junior Medical Academy here at USD. 27 different field trips to 8 different healthcare industry partners throughout our region. That work-based learning is such a great experience for them. We really saw in our assessments an increase in a desire to pursue medical careers and healthcare careers. Some of our classes this semester included CPR basics, basic surgery skills. They actually learned how to don and doff surgical gear, as well as learning how to do suturing, and learning about the respiratory system. This next semester, we change our classes, and so we'll be introducing careers like clinical lab scientist, dentist, nutritionist, and we're very excited to offer our first ever Spanish medical terminology class. So helping our non-Spanish speaking students to have a limited use, but also those that are Spanish speakers to increase their knowledge of medical terminology in Spanish. I want to invite all of you to our skills and knowledge competition next semester on May 18th at Mount Whitney High School. That's our big end of the semester competition. I know Mr. Shrum was able to join us this last December for the one we had. It is a great experience to see these kids use their skills, be tested on it, and engaged. And so I encourage you to come and see if Crowley can defend their title for this last year. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, moving to consent agenda. Would any board member like to pull an item from the consent agenda?
I would like to pull item 7.22.
Any other agenda items? Then may I have a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda?
I'll second.
Okay, on a motion by Board Member Gamoy, a second by Case Beer Soleno, call for a vote.
Board member votes yes, motion carries 6, 1 absent.
Okay, item 7.22 is the Mount Whitney High Modernization Project.
Thank you, Board President Gaby. I wanted to entertain a motion and motion to table this item until next board meeting. I just had some concerns around consistency and procedure. And so I just want to make sure, we're doing things in the proper manner. And so I would like to make a motion to table this item until our next board meeting.
I'll second. On a motion by Board Member Villegas and a second by Gaby, I'll call for a vote.
Student board member votes yes, motion carries 6, 1 absent.
The next best part, student representative report. This is Camille Salmeron from Mount Whitney High School. And I think this is your last meeting with us. We'll miss you, but we enjoy the reports.
There we go. Okay. I just wanted to say thank you so much for this opportunity, that I really enjoyed it. I will start with my board report now. El Diamante started the year strong by offering hot chocolate to students on the first day back from school. This was a great way to welcome students. El Diamante is preparing to send their students to the Castle State Conference in April. Juniors from ASB will be attending, and some are working on their Meeting the Pros presentation. El Diamante is meeting their final preparations for their winter rally. The rally is Barbie themed and has a lot of activities planned out. El Diamante is preparing for their Kindness Week. This week is hosted to spread kindness around campus. Golden West ASB is excited for the upcoming Yosemite vs. Sierra Throwdown rally. We are looking forward to increasing school spirit and building new relationships. Golden West drama production rehearsals are underway. We can't wait to see the awesome performance in the spring musical Newsies. The Golden West DECA team competed in the Northern California Career Development Conference. 2 outstanding students placed second in their event. Golden West Virtual Enterprise is off to the Bakersfield VE Trade Show. Good luck to our business finance program. Mount Whitney ASB is currently preparing for our annual Battle of the Classes, which will be Decades theme. Mount Whitney got a brand new track and a brand new jump pit. The track team is excited for the season to start. Mount Whitney Science Wing are currently in the process of being remodeled, which has our science department excited. Mount Whitney ASB will be hosting a club rush to help students get more involved and be a part of our student life. Redwood Cheer was represented by some of its members in London, England, over winter break, where they went on tours and participated in the London New Year Parade with cheerleaders. Redwood Girls Soccer defeated Clovis 4-0 on January, with the boys soccer defeating Porterville 2-1 on January 11th. As well as boys basketball beating LD in overtime 51-47 last Tuesday. Redwood Boys Wrestling had 12 placers at the 62nd Redwood Invitational Team Championship with 273 and 5 points. Redwood is also starting up a school thrift store where students can come in during lunch and shop for free items they want or need, which will include shoes, shirts, jackets, and more. Sequoia coach Drew Arte led the undefeated Sequoia soccer team to our league championship. Students enjoyed the Asian kitchen food just before the holiday break. Our culinary department served hot chocolate to all students, staff during finals. We had our first Mountaineer assembly for the new year to review school expectations and standards with all students. VCIS College and Careers Department has begun scheduling workshops to assist students in completing the FAFSA application. The majority of VCIS seniors and graduates have completed their senior exit interviews. This process helps prepare graduates for post-high school job interviews and goal setting. VCIS ASB has begun preparing for Kindness Week in February, which will include a variety of activities to build positive school culture. VCIS is currently holding the orientation for new students and has welcomed over 50 new students since the new semester started. Lastly, VTech. VTech finished the semester strong, celebrating 182 students with 0 incidents to a hot chocolate and donut reward at break. VTech ASB created an inclusive culture through Fierce, snacks for all students during finals week. VTech's Scholarship Foundation closed out the semester with the Staff Appreciation Lunch on. VTech had a total of 8 students nominated for the Tulare County Office of Education 2023 Kids of Character.
Thank you. Board member reports. I'll start on that side. Dr. Villegas.
Thank you, Board President Gaby. I'll keep it short and sweet today. Last Friday, I had the opportunity to go visit a few classrooms at La Jolla Middle School with Superintendent Schrum and Board Member Gamoyan, and we had a blast. I just will, throw a shout out to one PE teacher who I think it was his 9th day on the job, fresh, brand new, and he had those kids energized, playing music and really getting after it. And I just thought it really spoke to, everyone feeling ready to get back to school and ready to work. So I'm looking forward to what the rest of the semester holds for all of us here as a district. Thank you.
Dr. Odo.
Yeah, just a couple quick comments. Attended the Visalia Adult School commencement event a week or two ago. Great, always fun to see those events. Heartfelt congratulations to those folks and wish them the best for the future. Attended Oak Grove Elementary School on a site visit. Thank you to Principal Hamilton for your hospitality for that. And attended the El Diamante musical Matilda Sunday. Saw the final matinee there. And a couple notes there. Number one, great to see a different kind of show come through. Matilda was fun. The theater looks great, and it's the kickoff for musical season. So if you get a chance to go see one, please do. They're great stuff. Thank you.
Awesome. Board Member Belt.
Thank you, President Gaby. 2 times last week, I experienced the full breadth of what we do at Visalia Unified, seeing pre-K in the morning, Monday with my wife, who is a music teacher at Elbow Creek, and then literally completed the day with the adult school with a 60-plus-year-old getting her diploma. Lots of stories, but that's the full breadth of Visalia Unified, from 4 to 60 plus. The Wednesday, COS sponsored or made a presentation activity for COS staff folks that I attended on Zoom that gave me a whole new insight as to what is universal design for learning. Pedagogy I've heard about for most of my life, but still trying to figure that out. And trauma-informed practices. The idea was to help staff tailor how they teach, what their approach is to students, understanding that there's a lot of things we don't know about them. Quite often in our setting here with elementary and high school, middle school and high school, we don't know all the ins and outs of every student until we do an IEP. We do some kind of deep dive and try to figure that out. What I appreciated about the presentation, though, is that they offered it to us at some time if we'd like to further bring all of us into understanding the things that we don't even really see until we ask about where a student is sitting and what they're thinking and what's affecting their learning opportunities. And then last but not least, of course, going to the musical on Thursday night. And again, another day, starting with pre-K with Mr. Schrum and Dr. Odo, Oak Grove in the morning, and finishing with older students, our high school students, in the evening. We have a lot of amazing things happening. And I think this meeting, even though many of us are starting to feel like, how much longer is it going to be, has given us all these different bits and pieces of the complexity, but also the hope that we are working towards seeing every student learn every day. And thank you so much for working at that. Thanks all your principals who are still hanging in here. Oh, one other thing. It was amazing to see a picture of all those that went to Oklahoma City, including our VUDA president who accompanied the group. Thanks for going with them, Greg. That was pretty exciting that here's someone who, he didn't have to do that, but He wanted to actually see what is it that we're investing in all of our teachers and administrators to give them the best tools possible. So thanks for all of you who took part of your break to, well, I guess they actually had days off, didn't they? Yeah, there was actually, you were back by Wednesday. Thanks so much for putting in the time and efforts.
Board Member Case Solano.
I was going to say no report, but I did want to shout out very quickly. Over the break, my family and I were able to utilize the online library services through VUSD. I really, really want to I almost didn't want to do this because I don't want everyone to know our secret, but there are so many audiobooks on there for free. And just to give you some comparisons, like the Tulare County audiobook library system, I think the hold right now for Harry Potter is like 12 weeks. Ours has no wait. A Corn of Thorn and Roses, which is really popular right now, I think is like a 20 to 30 week wait for Tulare County Library. Our library is 6. So there's just like a lot of, obviously they're more youth related books, but they're accessible to your families, and they really are great, especially if you have any road trips or anything like that, to pop on an audiobook. So I hope you guys take advantage of that.
Awesome. Board Member Gamoyen.
I always love this time of year because it's a fresh start for everybody, teachers, students. And I just want to remember a couple of our initiatives. Achieve, and be kind. There's my report.
And well, ditto a lot of what was set up there. I think especially the adult school graduation, that is always something that it means so much to those students, and they work so hard. And I think we even just heard it in the student awards tonight. Yeah, and lastly, back to the ABLE report. I'm so excited for the future and for, our workplaces here in Visalia and colleges to be saying, like, how can we get some of those Visalia Unified students, because they get here and they're successful and they're hard workers, and it's an exciting future ahead. So with that, superintendent's report.
All right, thank you, President Gaby. Also want to say welcome back to everyone. We started back strong, and we're going to work to continue that throughout this semester. Shout out to all of our students who were recognized tonight. And I think of all of those, what really stood out were a couple of our adult school students and the stories about their perseverance. And I think about, myself and even our current high school students, right? And wonder how powerful it is to hear the story, working 12 hours or whatever that was, right? And then just thinking about what we oftentimes take for granted in education is something that so many other people have to fight for. And so I think for our students and others, it's important that we hear those stories, because, we have a lot of students who get up and have that opportunity and don't have to worry about those other things. And so we need to take what we do every day in class serious, and treat our professionals as professionals. And so shout out to all of those students. And want to conclude with, we received a letter to the board from State Senator Shannon Grove, congratulating the board on receiving the Golden Gavel, recognizing your testament to the outstanding leadership and dedication exhibited by the entire board in advancing academic excellence, ensuring safety, and enhancing transparency within the district. Please extend my sincere congratulations to all members of the board and my gratitude for their exceptional service to the students in this community. So thank you to State Senator Shannon Grove for sending the board that letter, and also recognizing this board and appreciating you during our School Board Appreciation Month. So that concludes my report.
Awesome. And we did skip over it very quickly on the first report, but congratulations to Superintendent Shrum. He was named superintendent to watch by, I think it's NASBRA. Is that how I say it, Andre? Okay. So congratulations. With that, our recommended expulsions. May I have a motion to approve the recommended expulsions?
I'll motion.
Second. On a motion by Case Solano and a second by Gamoyen, call for a vote.
Motion carries 6 yes, 1 absent.
Recommended reinstatements. May I have a motion to approve the recommended reinstatements?
I'll make a motion. Second.
On a motion by Dr. Villegas and a second by Dr. Odo.
Motion carries 6 yes, 1 absent.
And continued expulsions. May I have a motion to approve the continued expulsions?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
On a motion by Board Member Case Leno and a second by Board Member Belt, I'll call for a vote.
Motion carries 6 yes, 1 absent.
Okay. 2022-23 Annual District Financial Audit, Chief Business Officer Nathan Hernandez.
I'm gonna seal this back. Thank you. Good evening, President Gaby, members of the board, Superintendent Shrum. So this report is our annual audit report for the 22-23 fiscal year. We have joining us via Zoom, I hope. Yes. Mr. Charles Rabley. Mr. Rabley is a senior manager with Crow, our external audit firm. As I mentioned, each year our financial statements do have to be audited by an external audit firm. Crow does that work for us, and Mr. Rabley is going to share his presentation on this report for the board this evening.
Thank you very much, Nathan. Hope you guys can all hear me okay. I'm gonna share my screen. Great. Okay. Share my screen here with a brief presentation. We'll talk through the results of the audit. See if my technology holds up. All right. So we'll talk a little bit about the results for the audit for the year ended June 30, 2023, and go through some of those responsibilities as it relates to us as the auditors and then management and their responsibilities. So just to kind of kick it off, the responsibility of your external auditor is to express an opinion on the financial statements as well as on federal and state compliance. Because you are in the state of California, you're subject to state compliance requirements, and then because you expend federal dollars in excess of $750,000 annually, you also are subject to that federal compliance audit. In conducting the audit, we are required to consider what we call the risks of material misstatement. So that's the areas of the financial statements or of compliance that are more subject to error or having an incorrect number be reported. And also, we also are required to assess and understand internal controls, and that relates to internal controls over your key financial statement areas, and then internal controls over federal compliance. So to make sure that you have a control process in place that would produce accurate financial reporting or compliant federal reporting. And then so these two factors of risks of material misstatement and internal control evaluation kind of fold together to be what we call a risk-based audit approach. The audit has sort of several phases that take place throughout the fiscal year. We're crossing over. So we've got, the beginning component starts in March, in this case, March of 2023, where we started with inquiries of management, understanding those internal controls that are in place, moving into May, where we worked through the compliance component, whether it related to state or federal, and then additional testing of internal controls related to both of those and to the financial statement. And then in our third phase, this is where we came back to look at the year-end numbers. So what are the actual totals for June 30, 2023, and are they fairly stated in all material respect based on our testing? And then we moved on to the last phase, which is the reporting or completion phase, which is where we compile the audit report, which ultimately gets produced and provided to you all as those charged with governance, as well as to the state of California in the state controller's office, and also the California Department of Education and your county office of ed. So, and I can't see anybody's face at this moment, so if there's a question along the way, feel free to chime in, and I will jump in and answer that question. The next topic we wanted to make sure and cover is new accounting standards. So if there were new accounting standards that the district had to adopt this year, which had a material impact, we would talk about that in a little bit more detail. There was one new standard this year with an impact to some districts in the state related to subscription-based IT arrangements. And so while you do have some IT arrangements that would qualify under this new standard, it was not material by any means. So no change to the presentation of the financials as a result of this implementation. So we also address and are required to communicate corrected and uncorrected misstatements. Thankful to say that we had no corrected misstatements. So corrected misstatement is an audit adjustment that we would have to post in order to give our unmodified or clean opinion. We had no corrected misstatements. We do have one uncorrected misstatement. That's where we have an audit difference that is large enough to elevate to your attention, but not big enough to require us to post an adjustment in order to give our opinion. And this is one where, in this particular case, the state, you're a member of the CalPERS and CalSTRS retirement programs. As a member, you are allocated a portion of that obligation for the total pension liability for those plans. Technically, under the accounting standards, a portion of that liability should be allocated directly to the self-insurance fund. At the total level for the district, the liability is reported correctly, but just that allocation to the self-insurance fund is not made. And so there's not really a significant impact as it relates to that. It's just that piece at the governmental fund level. So it's just large enough for us to elevate discussing it, but not requiring an adjustment. Some other requirements, required discussions that we have to make with you all is whether we had any difficulties encountered with management. I'm happy to say we had no difficulties or disagreements with management. We're not aware of any consultation that management had with other accountants. Consultations would be if, for example, management wanted to get a different answer on how to account for something, so they went out to other firms to see their answer. And so if we were aware of that, we would make you aware of that, but no issues there. And then no other issues or adverse events that need to be brought to your attention for this communication. So that culminates to our audit results. So again, as I mentioned, we have our financial statement audit, the federal and state compliance audit, and then just purely because the school district is a governmental entity, we also are required to follow generally accepted government auditing standards. So that's that last line. So you'll notice there were 4 different opinions on the right set of this table. Unmodified is the level of assurance that you look to achieve. That's the highest level that we can provide as an external auditor. So we were able to give unmodified opinions or clean opinions on the financial statements and federal compliance and government auditing standards. We had 2 findings in the state compliance area of our audit, and I'll talk about those in just a minute. I did want to highlight a couple of key pieces of financial information as it relates to the district for this fiscal year that we audited. Total assets landed at around $964 million. Your net position or equity at that government-wide level, looking at the entire district as a whole, is $448.9 million. That includes a negative $448.9 million. That includes $308 million of that net pension liability for CalPERS and CalSTRS, and the other post-employment benefits. So the benefits that you provide to retirees of the district of about $100 million. So that was a positive change from the prior year of approximately $132.8 million total equity position, with a fund balance in the general fund alone of $214.3 million. All that really culminates to on the general fund balance is that you have the adequate reserves that you're required to have by the state of California. The 2 areas of compliance that we had some findings that we had to report include classroom teacher salaries. So this is something that we see a lot of districts have this, in the last several years, but in this particular case, the classroom teacher salaries expenditures as a percent of overall expense in the general fund was about 51%, which was lower than the 55% that it's required to be by the Ed Code. There's no direct fiscal impact from this deficiency, but we are required to report it in the audit report. And I know that the district also worked with the County Office of Ed to get a waiver for that shortage below the 55%. So no sort of immediate follow-up needed for that. The other area related to our testing for state compliance over immunization. So we had one student we tested that the vaccination they received was after this time period threshold that the state gives to give that dosage of vaccine. And so we had to disallow the ADA recognized for that student after 4 months and 10 days in the school year. So the total effect of that was, as you can see, 0.05 ADA, not a large dollar value associated with that. And we're not actually required to even calculate a dollar impact for that because it's under 1/2 of an ADA. So as far as findings, though, these are pretty minimal relative to the operations of the district and in consideration of how many state compliance areas that we have to look at in the state's audit guide. So just to conclude, we got a fairly stated financial statements in all material respects. No audit adjustments were identified and no findings related to internal control or to federal compliance. And the district staff were really helpful for us. I mean, to be able to provide you the audit, with minimal findings and in consideration that it was filed on time with the state, that's a really great outcome. And I just want to express my appreciation for Nathan and the rest of the fiscal team for providing us all that we needed. So I know I went through quite a bit there, but I will stop my share. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to expand on any particular area of the audit.
Board members, any questions? Any public comment? All right, may I have a motion to accept the annual district financial audit report?
I will motion.
I'll second.
On a motion by Board Member Case Soleno and a second by Dr. Odo. Call for a vote. Oh, sorry, the other doctor. All right.
Motion carries 6, 1 absent.
All right. Yeah.
May I ask for the student vote?
Yes, that's what I was wondering about. Okay, let me repeat that. Student board member votes yes, motion carries 6, yes, 1 absent.
And then for the record, that was motioned by Case Soleno, second by
Dr. Villegas.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have 2022-23 Measure A financial and performance audits. First read.
Good evening. So this is not an action item tonight. This is a first reading, as you mentioned. So as part of our Measure A bonds, we are required to conduct both a financial and a performance audit on those bonds. Again, Mr. Rabley is here to share his presentation on the outcome for that financial audit.
I'm back. So I'll talk a little bit about the Measure A bonds here, and I've got another brief slide presentation, shorter than the other, to talk about the results from that audit. All right. The Measure A financial statements and performance audit report. So as Nathan implied there, we've got sort of 2 overarching obligations that we have as your auditors for Measure A. One is to audit the financial statements. So that's a standalone picture of Measure A as a separate entity. Obviously, it's incorporated into your district's financials as part of the building fund. We have to carve that out and look at Measure A as a separate piece. Those financial statements, as you can see here on this slide, were given an unmodified opinion. And so there were no findings or question costs in those audit results. As well, we're also required to conduct a performance audit. And so the scope of that is different than a financial statement audit. in that we're looking at directly at the expenditures or the use of the funds from Measure A proceeds and determining whether those were compliant with not only Prop 39, which is what the bond measure was authorized under by the constituency, but also with the project list that the board has approved and that the Bond Oversight Committee has evaluated. And so again, as you can see on this, we gave an unmodified opinion for that during this current fiscal year audit. So that was no exceptions were identified in our testing. And to give a little bit more context around that, just realized that says FY22. This is FY23. So the total expenditures, about 5.4 million, were expended during this fiscal year, and we tested about 80% of that for us to be able to give that opinion about compliance over the Prop 39 and bond project allowed list. So I will stop my share again. So that's again, an unmodified opinion for the state compliant component where we're looking at the performance audit, and then also for the financial statements themselves for Measure A. So good outcome for this year. And I guess I'll reiterate, the management was the key differentiator there and being able to give those unmodified opinions because they gave us the information that we needed when we needed it, and it was correct. So that does tend to make all the difference in the world for us. I'm happy to address any questions that you have, and if you don't have questions now and think of something later, you can feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you.
Any public comment? Any board comment? This item is information only at this time and a first read. Go to item 12.3, public hearing for Visalia Unified Teachers Association interest initial proposal for certificated negotiations. I will now open a public hearing and invite Assistant Superintendent of HRD Ben Dillon up to the podium.
This first item will actually be VUTA's read, so I will ask Mr. Greg Price, VUT President, to share.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. Can you all hear me? I hope. Good. Everybody will be happy. Shortest report of the whole night. Here we go. Unless Ben decides he's going to one-up me. He's going to try. 2024-25 VUTA Sunshine Proposals. This year, VUTA will be opening the following. Article 3, Safety Conditions of Employment. The articles we will mutually open with USD are Article 1, Contract Provisions. Article 5, Hours of Employment. Article 6, Transfers and Reassignments. Article 8, Class Size. Article 10, Salaries. Article 12, Employment Benefits. And Article 20, Special Education. This year, VUTA will be addressing issues associated with counselors, middle school, and alternative education sites. Additionally, we are interested in the working conditions for all teachers in VUSD. Additionally, we will expect to open articles mutually as the need arises throughout the bargaining process. End report.
Are there any public comment? Any board member comments? I will then close the public hearing and reconvene regular session. May I have a motion to acknowledge receipt of the Visalia Unified Teachers Association initial contract interests?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
On a motion by Board Member Spears-Soleno and a second by Board Member Odo. Oh. Villegas.
They sound too much alike. Motion carries. Student board member votes yes, 6 yes, 1 absent.
Okay, I will now open another public hearing, the Visalia Unified School District interest initial proposal for certificated negotiations. Assistant Superintendent Ben Dillon.
Good evening, Board President Gaby, rest of the board. Similar to what Mr. Price shared, I will refer back to our district interest shared during the December 12th board meeting, and also reiterate that our district in cooperation with VUTA intend to focus on mutually identified issues in the following articles: Article 1, contract provisions; Article 5, hours of employment; Article 6, transfers and reassignments; and Article 10, salaries. In addition, we've agreed to automatic reopeners of Article 20, special education, and the aforementioned articles provided by Mr. Price. I request that the board move forward in approving what we've shared this evening. Thank you.
Is there any public comment? Board comment? All right, I will close the public hearing and reconvene regular session. May I have a motion to approve Visalia Unified School District's interest initial proposal for certificated negotiations?
So moved.
And seconded.
I saw that. All right, on a motion by Board Member Gamoin and a second by Dr. Odo, call for a vote.
Motion carries. Student board member votes yes, 6 yes, 1 absent.
Item 12.5, resolution to authorize a supplementary retirement plan. Chief Business Officer Nathan Hernandez.
Good evening again, President Gaby and members of the board, Superintendent Shrum. So the item tonight is a request for approval to establish a supplementary retirement plan. This is also known as an early retirement incentive. We did this last in 2009, undergoing some recessionary cuts, and so we're looking to again to offer this as an opportunity for employees to choose to retire early if they are able. So this aligns to our core beliefs and commitments. We brought an item earlier with working with ABLE and again, making strategic decisions around how we, in this case, look at ways to restructure, look at ways to provide some savings in the budget as we look to some upcoming challenges with our state budget. As I mentioned, we worked on a program similar to this in 2009. The agency that's doing this program is PARS, Public Agency Retirement Services. They also manage some of our trust accounts for other post-employment benefits or health insurance, as well as a pension trust account, as well as again, doing some of these supplementary retirement programs across the state. So what is a supplementary retirement program or a SERP? So the primary objective of the SERP is to, as it states there, increase and accelerate retirements above our normal attrition rates. And so by advancing some of those earlier retirements, we're able to do things like restructure and achieve fiscal savings. The savings come from usually those employees who retire are at the top end of the salary schedule. And when we hire employees behind, when we're replacing positions, we usually hire at a lower end of the salary schedule. So that generates some savings. Also, when we're looking at potential for restructures or looking at our staffing ratios, it's a way if we eliminate positions to generate savings to move the program forward. So the incentive that's being offered is considered a 75%. So it's 75% of the employee's current contracted salary for the 23-24 school year. So that is their base salary. So it doesn't include things like timesheets. It doesn't include extra duty pays or added pays or, we'd have a classified summer assistance program. Again, it's open to all of our employees in the district, CSEA, VUTA, and management. But again, that base salary savings. So there will be an enrollment period that will open, and employees who sign up during this enrollment period will close out at the end of March 21st. And we will then do another analysis to look at the employees who are in the program and what savings could be generated through the use of this incentive, and come back to the board in April to make a decision on whether the program moves forward by either meeting our fiscal objectives or operational objectives. So some detail there about who's eligible. I'm not going to go through that list, but essentially if you're eligible to retire from PERS or STRS, you're eligible to participate in this program. Anyone who may be eligible will get a letter from the district. Those that we know are eligible based on age, they will get an enrollment packet. And again, we'll have some dates around providing opportunities for employees to get additional information from PARS. So we'll have 2 dates where employees can receive that information. That enrollment window will open upon board approval of the item tonight, and those packets will be mailed out this week and in mailboxes probably next week. And then we'll set up some workshops for employees at the end of the enrollment period who just have questions about further questions about the program. A lot of information and details, frequently asked questions will be in that packet that they'll receive about the details of how that annuity works. As again, it is an annuity. Employees are paid out over time. Of that 75% is put into annuity and they're paid out over time. And they have different elections that they can make to participate in the program. Again, it'll end at the end of March. We'll come back to the board in April and share the results. And if this is approved and moves forward, employees would resign, retire at the end of June of this current school year, and they would begin receiving payments in August. And with that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Any public comment? Any board comment? Questions? May I have a motion to approve and adopt the resolution?
Motion?
Second.
On a motion by Case Beer Soleno and a second by Board Member Gamoyen.
Motion carries. Student board member votes yes. 6 yes and 1 absent.
Okay, modification to Visalia Unified School District salary schedules effective July 1st, 2023. Assistant Superintendent of HRD, Ben Dillon.
Thank you very much. So I'm bringing before you modification to our district salary schedules. This would include the attached salary schedules for certificated management, classified management, our classified chief salaries, confidential salary schedule, classified salary schedule. These salary schedules have been modified really to ensure that there's alignment across salary schedules, our job descriptions and postings. It's part of ensuring, obviously, for our auditors and the technical aspects related to STIRs and different pieces like that and PERS, that we have all of that aligned. Most of this relates to cleanup language, ensuring that different positions are in the right divisions, that there were some of it is just the specific like jargon and titles. I did want to make sure that the board is aware that the recommended salary schedule updates do not result in any fiscal changes or changes to compensation included on those schedules. So a request that the board would approve the recommended salary schedules as presented this evening.
Any public comment? Any board comment? May I have a motion to adopt and approve the 2023-24 salary schedule updates to the certificated management salary schedule, classified management salary schedule, classified chief salary schedule, confidential salary schedule, and classified salary schedule Appendix A, retroactive to July 1st, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
On a motion by Board Member Gamoyen and a second by Dr. Villegas, a call for a vote.
Motion carries. Student board member votes yes. 6 yes, 1 absent.
All right, warrant list. Chief Business Officer Nathan Hernandez.
Good evening. This is our routine item to approve the warrants that are listed on the agenda tonight.
Any public comment? Any board comment? May I have a motion to approve the warrant list?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
On a motion by Dr. Oden, a second by Case Beer Soleno.
Motion carries. Student board member votes yes. 5 yes, 1 absent, 1 abstention.
Okay, we will now recess the regular board session and convene the Visalia Financing Corporation meeting. Annual meeting and selection of officers for the Visalia Financial Corporation. Chief Business Officer Nathan Hernandez.
Good evening, President Gaby, members of the board, Superintendent Shrum. So this is our annual status report and selection of officers for the Visalia Financing Corporation. The board also serves as the board of directors for the Visalia Financing Corporation. And so I will share just a little bit about the corporation, summarize some of the debt that is lives within the corporation, and then we'll do the selection of officers. So the Visalia Financing Corporation is a nonprofit public benefit corporation that was formed in 1989. It was the agency that was used to issue certificates of participation in 1990. Since then, those have long been paid off, but we do still have debt within the Visalia Financing Corporation. And so the corporation provides assistance by acquiring and constructing facilities. And as I mentioned, the financing arm for several debt issues of the district. The most recent, which are still outstanding, is 2015 COP and the 2018 COP certificates of participation. The 2015 COP currently has just over 12.5 million outstanding, and the 2018 COP has 17 million outstanding. The 2018 COP, we do have the funds set aside to repay that as we had intended. We're working through the long-range facility master plan before we actually determine, do we want to defease that debt to pay it off, or do we want to use that cash to do additional project works? And that'll be a decision when that facility plan is completed. Some of the projects that were done with those funds, I won't go through them all, but you can see some of our schools that were built or modernized, pools and things that were used, the COP completed. And then the 2018 was mostly Measure E modernization, as well as a couple of schools that were built. Denton and Sequoia was completed. Each year we do a selection of officers, and we recommend that the same officers serve in the same general capacity as on the school board. The officers are president and vice president and secretary treasurer. The vice president and secretary treasurer can serve in the same capacity. And so our recommendation is for Jackie Gaby to serve as president and Joy Naylor to serve as vice president, secretary, treasurer. And with that, we entertain any questions or vote for the positions.
Any public comment? Any board comment? May I have a motion to elect Jackie Gaby as the president and Joy Naylor, teacher for being gone, as vice president, secretary, and treasurer of the Visalia Financing Corporation for the calendar year 2024.
I will make that motion.
And second.
On a motion by Board Member Case-Pierce-Soleno and a second by Board Member Dr. Odo, I will call.
Motion carries. Student board member votes yes. 6 yes, 1 absent.
I will now close the meeting of the Visalia Financing Corporation and reconvene the regular session of the Visalia Unified School District Board of Education meeting. And I will adjourn that meeting as well. The meeting is now adjourned.